Okay, we're going to continue now a little bit into some of the sugya of Oleinu, some of the things itself. But just before we do that, I do want to mention something that Rav Shimshon Pincus brings down in his beautiful Sefer Nefesh Shimshon, which we've used many, many times over the course of these shiurim. And one specific thing he mentions about Oleinu is as follows. He brings from the Kadmoinim, that the Kadmoinim say that the Ikar Tafkid of saying Oleinu L'Shabeach is actually a shmira, a protection on all of our tefillah. And he brings a moshel in the following way. He says, imagine if you have, for example, a person that's been given permission from the king to enter his most inner place, like his most inner treasure house. Now he goes in there and he finds some of the most beautiful precious stones that he ever saw in his life. And he takes a few of them and he realizes that the few that he's taken are enough to support him for a very long time, for the rest of his life and all his future generations. They're incredible. They're beautiful. So the only problem is, if he walks out of the palace with those jewels, with those beautiful precious stones, people are going to attack him like a pack of wolves and there'll be nothing left whatsoever. So what happens is he makes a specific type of wrapping, a protective sort of layer around it, which will hide it and protect it when he goes out of the palace. Says Rav Shimshon Pincus, when a Yid davens the Seder HaTfilah, he davens everything. He builds himself an entire building, right? From Tfilah, from the beginning all the way up. You start from Birchas HaShachar, Birchas HaTorah, you've got, Karbonis, you've got Pesach Zimra, you've got Birchas Krishma, you've got Krishma, you've got Shemana Esra. The climax goes higher and higher. You're building yourself a building. Now there's a chashash, and the chashash is that we're worried that there's mazikim out there that can ruin, prevent, and hurt our tefillahs. And therefore we want to, says the Kadmoinim, we are wrapping it with Oleinu L'Shabeach, and that is the protective layer around our tefillahs to ensure that they remain intact and as powerful as they can. Now, if you think about that, it's incredible. We've just davened and explained the whole davening, but we've davened the whole davening, whether it's Shachris, Mincha, or Mariv, and we have nothing to protect that tefillah when we go out in the world, and the rest of the hours that we're living in the day. Zukr Shimshon Pincus, Oleinu L'Shabeach is the protective level that allows us to keep our tefillahs intact and as potent as possible. So let's start. Oleinu L'Shabeach means it is our chiv, it's our duty, it's our obligation, L'Shabeach, to praise La'adonai Kol, to the master of everything, L'asei Skudula L'Yoytze Bereshis, right? To basically give godless greatness to the creator of the world. Now there's a very interesting thing now. We're going to find a bunch of statements. Let's try to explain some of them. He doesn't make us like the rest of the lands, the nations of the lands. He doesn't establish us like the families of the earth. Right? He doesn't assign our portion like their portion. So these are some of the interesting phrases that we say. And in fact, al pi Kabbalah, these phrases actually hint to some of the ways that Klal Yisrael differ from all the other nations. For example, Shaloi Asonu Kugoya Rotzois hints to the fact that our very neshamas are different to other, to goyish neshamas. As for example, the Tanya says quite clearly we have a different neshama. Number two, that means that the Rebbeinu Shalom did not place our lot with the national customs of other people, but only rather with His Torah and His mitzvahs. And the fact that we are Hashem's lot is described in the words, He's not assigned our portion like theirs, not our lot like all of the multitudes. So we see from here that there's a major difference between a Yid, us, Klal Yisrael, and the rest of the nations of the world. And Mitzvah Hashem, I think what we're going to do is, we'll stop here. Mitzvah Hashem next week, we're going to finish Oleinu L'Shabeach.